Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's planning committee, Monday the 12th of June. The first public participation is the first item. So you have 2 minutes to talk about your application that you want to talk about, and that'd be great if you want to get started. Yes, please.
Okay. This is the application for number 9, the Meads. You'll remember that they previously applied to put a second house on this plot. The current plan looks much more sensible. It's an extension front or at the side and at the back. I'm just hoping that the Town Council, when they make recommendations to Mid Sussex, can add a cautionary note about the drains. You'll remember that the 2 sets of drains go through that property, one beside the house, one underneath the garage. One is the foul water drain from numbers 1 to 8, go right through there. And the second drain is for the surface water coming off the whole of the road, which goes down. If those got damaged during the building, there'd be trouble. One, we'd all get sewage coming back, and it's happened last year. And I think when the last application was made, Southern Water had concerns about the surface water off the road. Because in fact, if that did get blocked or damaged during the building, the site itself, number 9, would be completely flooded because the drain goes underneath them. Yeah. That's it, basically. So if you could make a recommendation to watch the drains, I've got no objection to the planned development.
Thank you. That's great. Don't forget residents coming in approving.
No, we don't. It's a nice neighbourhood. It's a nice neighbourhood. So just, we couldn't accept a second house on a plot which, or else you've got deeds that you can't put 2 buildings on a plot. We would probably not own that if you had informed us, actually. Thank you.
Item number 1 on the agenda is apologies absence or substitution. We have a few. Councillor Margaret Elsey, she's got a person appointment, she's been substituted by Councillor Rex. Councillor Whitaker is got a personal commitment, and also Councillor Peacock has a family commitment as well. I just wondered if we would be able to accept those apologies by vote, and all those in favour of accepting those apologies? Thank you very much.
And we'll just approve the substitution as well.
And approve the substitution.
That's lovely.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Item number 2 is to receive the minutes of the meeting held on the 22nd of May. This is for accuracy. I would like to propose those. Can I ask for a second?
I'll second.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair. Any comments at all? No, so we'll just vote all those in favour, please. Thank you very much. Item number 3 is to receive members' declarations of interest. Do we have any declarations to declare? No, fantastic. Okay. Do you want to mention anything about the licensing committee?
No, we haven't got any licensing applications.
Next thing, Chairman's announcements. Item number 4. Welbeck, the developer for Inverhorn Farm, have met with the Clark and Ward councillors of Inverhorn. This was following on from the public consultation last year. I've asked for an extra committee meeting on the 27th of June, which you should have all had details about, to receive a pre-application presentation as to the final plans to be submitted by the developers. Changes excuse me, include the access to the estate and layout. It remains a 550 dwelling site with the retirement village, community building, allotments, sporting facilities to share with the school and public, and also, of course, the Sang. We're just waiting, I think, to hear back from Welbeck's to confirm that date.
They have confirmed.
Oh, that's perfect. So we'll be in touch due course for that. But I think that will be a very interesting meeting to have. Item number 5 is about the appeal AP 230013. It's the land at the rear of Overshaw Cottage, Lewis Road. It was dismissed by the planning committee at Mid-Sussex. Sorry, the planning inspector at Mid-Sussex. So that's well, is that planning inspector? That's not Mid-Sussex, is it?
It's the national one. That's up in London.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So.
Oh, they just had all the drive time act.
Number 6 is regarding item number 6 is Lingfield Neighbourhood Plan. There was a link on the agenda. There was no comments submitted to the clerk for consideration. But if anybody wants to mention anything about it now, then please do. As my dad would say, or forever hold your peace. If so, the closing date for that is 28th of June. So if you've got any more comments, if you do have a rethink, then pass them on to the clerk. But that the deadline on that is 19th, isn't it? Really so we need it in by Monday, the 19th, if anybody has any comments on that. Number 7, what's Neighbourhood Plan Week? Is Horsted Keynes Neighbourhood Plan. This is just to note that this plan has now been made. So noted.
Noted.
Okay. Item number 8 is 3 applications. As we normally do, we refer these to the tree officer at Mid-Sussex, but obviously if anybody does have any further comments regarding those 4 applications, then we can have a little discussion about it now.
Just the Scots Pine, is that the one I can see out of the window?
It's going to be in that direction, so it's above the pond.
I think it's probably the one that's got the top out of it.
Yeah.
There's no plans to replace it, is there?
All trees which are felled that are under TPO are required to be replaced. So it will be replaced. Whether they're going to replace it there or not, I don't know. And if you'd like us to put that in the informative, we're happy to do so. Chairman,
yes, that will be perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Mockford. Excellent stuff. So that's that done. Moving on now. Item number 7 is the applications section. Move on to our first application, which is DM 231237, 9 The Meads, East Grinstead, RX 1940F. Removal of existing garage, new double-storey side and single-storey rear extension. This is Town South. And forgive me, is that you, Craig?
It isn't, but I live round the corner and I tend to correct.
No, it's fine. Who's the ward councillor for Town South? Is it
Town North? Sorry, are we in Town South or Town North?
Town South.
This one's Town South.
Yes.
Town South, we've got Tony and we've got Lee are both Town South.
Right.
Just
Town North.
Yeah.
It's Town South. Never mind. Tony's Town South.
Tony,
Councillor Scott.
lead us away. So this is the location plan. As you can see, it's on at the end of the Meads, just to give you an idea of the context of the location. Actually, so this is what they're planning to do, as our resident said earlier, there was an earlier application where they were actually going to be putting a separate 2-bedroom dwelling in this space. They've revised that plan now, and it's now going to be an extension as per the instructions. Can everyone see that? I must say I need to get my computer prowess sorted out. Let's just sort that out. There we go. Is that better? So you can see that this is the garage area here, which they're going to be building over here. And then, so that's the existing elevations and plans. And then this is the new elevation and plan, which you can see. Councillor Scott.
Right. So they've gone away from building a house and they attached the house to their house, basically. So the only thing different is there isn't a space between them. It is become a big house, but we are going to take into consideration the drainage problem like the gentleman over here mentioned. So, are there any objections to this, please, Chair?
Well, through you, Chair, there weren't any objections per se. However, like Mr. Glenister has raised, the South East Water have made a comment about the foul sewer and the surface water runoff, and they have actually drawn the attention to the exact same thing. So that's not going to get lost.
In my opinion, a huge proportion of this has been taken up with the removal of the existing garage. So based upon that, if there wasn't an existing garage there, and that was the size of it, then I may have had some concerns. But as there was a garage there before, I would actually accept that and pass it.
Okay, so we're going for approval status. Can we have a second for that? Thanks, Vice Chair. Does anybody have any comments?
Just so around it, just to take a look, given that we previously had the objection, and I concur with Councillor Scott. I have to remember your surname there, Councillor Scott. That actually, I think it's given that the garage is actually significant. You know, they're not extending beyond. If you look at the previous plan, it's pretty much in line, and a lot of other properties in that area have had the same. You know, I felt it was in keeping with that and not overdevelopment of the site.
Yes. Councillor Gibbs and then Councillor Farnborough.
So my initial thought was, obviously, it's been taken into account the garage being there, but adding a second story, I think, was important to remember as well. However, because I did wonder if that might, I don't know, block the light. You know, it's quite close to the next house.
Yeah.
But then, I believe if you look at the house on the other side, the distance between the houses, the 2 stories between the distance between 2-story houses is pretty close anyway. So it's still, as Councillor Pond said, still quite in keeping with everything else. It's more of a comment as opposed to actually a reason for refusing.
Yeah, no,
I'd be happy to agree.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's really just to reiterate what South East Water and gentleman has said, because a 2-story extension on that garage area, which is where the 2-story extension would be, is a big dig down for the foundations for a 2-story extension at that point where all that drainage and everything is. So obviously it needs to be mindful of the builders, and we trust that they're do their job, and obviously that the experts will support that.
Okay, yeah, I mean, the water company have done a big survey on it, and there's a big report on it. So I think it's the original the first application was literally up onto the boundary line with the separate dwelling. So they've gone back and had a rethink, and they've put this together, and I think it's a great
keeping.
It definitely is, and as it's already been mentioned, there's a lot of houses that have been extended in this fashion too on the road. Okay.
I'd just like to make one comment that if you're ever going to build an extension on the side of your house, you will get the water board to check before you even built it. No builder in his right mind would ever just go and do that. He would 100%, and it's law that they have to anyway.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
The gas has got to come out, the water's got to come out, and they've got to oversee where you're putting your extension.
Yeah, right. Okay, so we have thank you very much. We have a vote for approval, seconded. All those in favour? Right, thank you. Item number, application second is DM 23. Thanks, Leslie. Nice to see you again. DM 231301, which is 26 Woodlands Road. It's a 2-story side extension. I put this in really because there was a query with regards to the boundary on this property. As those who went on the fantastic training earlier this week would know, boundary issues aren't planning law. So it's not something that we can specifically refuse it on. We can actually make a mention of it in our comments and our decision. I'll go to Ashplatts North. God, I wish I hadn't done these boundaries. Who was it? Thank you so much. Over to you.
I did drive out and have a look at this because of the boundary issues, and I really wanted to look at it because it's a really tight cluster of housing in there.
Yeah. You can't really see that.
You can't really see it, and when you drive round, you can see where the road is there. You stop right on that corner, and the person that's talking about the boundary, they've got a garage that's at that angle to the building. Where they're planning to do the extension, there is already from the original build a little outside area which has got outside toilets and a walk-through. So that is already in existence. So it would remain the same, but as an extension to the house as opposed to like an outbuilding. There's a two-story extension. The only thing is whether it would look very crowded at the top, but it's a very busy street. There is already the grounds there. You can see it on the existing one. It actually looks as if it's attached to the house more than that sort of picture does, really.
What, that bit there?
Yeah, and that's like an outside toilet, and it's a walk through, so it's already a solid brick build there anyway. It's just the height of it. But I wouldn't actually object to it. And having a look at the plan of how much garden they've got, it looks very busy at the front, but obviously at the back they've got the space.
Yeah. Okay.
Which you can't see from the road.
I'd
vote to approve.
To approve, okay. Second. Thank you, Councillor. Does anybody have any comments? Oh, no. Okay.
Maybe not on this.
No. Okay, that's great. So we'll just go. We'll take a vote. All those sitting in front of you.
Right.
Well, that was good. Well done, Helen.
That's my first one.
I did also put the letter that
I did read all that on the portal.
Okay. Do you want me to mention it, Lucy?
No. It'll just go down as noted.
All right, brilliant. Thank you. Fantastic. So next one is DM 23 1111 Ashplatts Lodge, Holtai Road. It's a proposed direction of 4 dwellings, highway works, and associated parking and landscaping. There is a mention on the portal from the landowner of Fairlight Lane, which is the lane in red. The landowner of the verge and access has not been in discussion with the developer and says he would refuse it. This is not material to the application, but suggests this may be approved but wouldn't be allowed. So basically, the owner of Ashplatts Lodge want to put a separate boundary on their back garden. They're looking to put 4 houses in this area here. They've already got approval from the owner of the lane, Ashplatts Lodge, to be able to use the lane to get into their house, but they've not contacted them with regards to the extra dwellings. So that's why they're.
So this is down Fairlight Lane.
This is down on off the Holtai Road,
going down to Fairlight Farm.
On that bend, that's right, on the right hand side. They sort of did it. Yeah.
Can I say one thing?
Bear with me.
Yeah.
Thanks, sorry, Councillor Scott. This is Ashplatts North. So, who is Ashplatts North? Yeah. Councillor Farron, and then once we open up to discussion, so Tony will.
So I know this has come up in the past, even when I've not been on planning, they've been coming up because they've had different plans along the way. Because originally they wanted to do much more, I think, with this than and I can't believe they haven't spoken to anybody about the lane, and I didn't find that in the portal, so forgive me, I didn't have that piece of information.
No, That's fine. There we go.
Looking at the
My mouse is running away with me.
looking at what they actually want to achieve with their two houses, it looks like two semi-detached, which will back onto already a very developed area, which we thought would be overdeveloped, which is actually a really lovely estate now. But how they would get access to that now without having heavy lorries and stuff coming down without permission, I don't know. But actually the housing on the space, I think it's got good parking. They've got all got gardens, they're back onto already a busy time, and they're looking at doing the landscaping to make it in place. So actually the houses, I don't object to.
Okay, so we'll have an approval. Would anybody like to second that?
I'm happy to second that.
So we're going to throw it open to discussion now. Tony, you're absolutely chomping at the bit.
Yeah, lived in the area all my life, Stone Quarry, even delivered papers down there as a paper boy. I know that has got to be the worst exit in the whole of our town. I do not believe there is a more dangerous exit to come out than that one. That is the worst you'll ever have. And I think turning right is an absolute no. Turning left, you're putting your life in your hands anyway. If they're going to build any houses down there, I would love to accept it if I know that exit is going to be redeveloped, because it should have been redeveloped long ago. And if we can get a caveat to get that exit out altered in a safe manner, because if you're putting 4 more houses down there, you could have potentially 8 cars. And if you've got another 8 cars, now cars don't come up that lane very often. It's the farmers and people live in cottages. There's not many traffic comes out of there. We're now going to put new houses, meaning they've got to go to work in the morning, got to come home in the evening, the wife's got to go shopping. There is going to be traffic. And that there is no exit, in my opinion, worse than that one. So, and it's got to be amended.
Yeah, I would imagine that highways would very much definitely get involved with this. But we can put a something in with regards to DP21, which is a district policy, which is all about transport. And you know, we could do something along those lines. There is also DP26, which is, I know it's all about design, but the thing with about design is that does it cause significant harm in terms of that, in terms of the development, and perhaps that's something that we could incorporate too as well. So yeah, good points.
May I ask if we can have the photograph back up, please? That's the one. Now, there's a lot of established hedgerow along there, and obviously I would like to see that preserved. That's the word. Thank you, Helen. Yeah, and I'd draw your attention to DP37, which is for just that purpose. Development that will damage or lead to the loss of trees, woodland, or hedgerows that contribute either individually or as part of a group to the visual amenity, value, or character of an area, and or that have landscape, historic, or wildlife importance would not normally be permitted. Proposals for new trees should be of suitable species, usually native, and where required for visual noise or light screening, trees, woodland, and hedgerows should be of a size and species that would achieve this purpose. Okay. So I'd like DP37, if anything is removed, for it to be replaced, but to keep the destruction down to a minimum. Yeah. And if they are going to be building near any large tree roots, I discovered something called cell web, which we could ask for them to make sure they use when they're digging the.
I don't think it's something that
West Sussex use it.
Yeah, we could probably put it as a
little caveat. Cell web.
So what are you asking to do with it?
It's a root protection for trees at the digging stage.
So
what's a C?
Oh, thank you.
In terms of, sorry, I actually think, you know, that from a design perspective, it's pretty good, and it does fit in with the surroundings. You know, there's no two ways about it. If you saw the pictures of the planning statement that the developer put together, you can see where the back of the other houses are with 6, 5, 6, and 7, and 8, and 9, and 10. You've got a picture from that area, and I think actually it would look pretty good. And I like that image because it just gives you a better idea of how actually what it would look like in situ as well. But I do agree with you about the highways impact and the danger there, which needs to be mitigated for sure. But in terms of actual design, I think that the properties are really good.
Just on that, if you go back to the overhead picture again, there's a road, and Councillor Scott will know far better than I whether that the way where that road. So if you look at the back of the properties, it backs onto the next estate, which then appears to be a road that backs directly on. I don't know if Councillor Scott is aware of whether that would. If access was through that, whether that would help to.
No, it would be a different developer. Isn't it?
That road is through
so I would imagine that they've probably tried that avenue and they've been knocked back. That's why they're coming down the road they have already got access to. I don't know if it's working. I mean, obviously the owner of that lane, Town Clerk, has been very vocal in the access. Do we need to? Would it be prudent for us to make a comment about that as well in terms of the letter that they've written?
With regards to the fact of the ownership, and that the gentleman who owns it says he wouldn't be giving access, wouldn't give permission. Not really. No. That's his prerogative, of course. I think we should be constraining ourselves to planning matters, that because of course he could change his mind at any time. And so I think from our point of view, we just need to make sure that we've ticked off all of those policies that we feel of concern. If the gentleman, I mean, the planning application, of course, can go through regardless of any permission. That is then a secondary matter, which has to be determined before any building can start.
Perfect. Okay. So we have an approval put forward to us, and we do have a second. Those in favour of approval? Thank you. One abstaining.
I think it's back to the same. I don't know whether that Bluebell exit is easier to get out of. I think that's right.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point. It would make more sense, but I would imagine if you live in a Bluebell gate, you don't know. So that's that. Our next meetings are 27th of June, which is the Welbeck developer meeting.
Apologies for that. I should be at the district. Okay. I've got training. Sorry.
So 7 o'clock meeting for everybody. 27th of June, Welbeck. And then the next official meeting is July.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Close the meeting at 7:29.